So question number 31, how do I decide what to offer for the home?
First things first, of course, if you're looking to make an offer on a home, we're going to go ahead and assume that the home is going to be within the amount that you've been pre-approved by your lender and that it meets what you consider to be the maximum amount you're going to pay on a monthly basis, right? So we already know that this is a property that you would seriously consider if you can get it for your price. And so since we know it's going to be within that budget, the next thing we want to do is we want to look at the comps. So you're going to have your agent prepare a CMA for you, comparative market analysis, and we're going to look at the properties that are similar to the home in the similar location, similar size, condition, built around the same time. And you want to see what those homes are selling for.
Since we're in a competitive market, which Northern Virginia is, it's not likely that you're going to get a significant discount on a lot of the properties that you're looking at because there's so much demand for our houses. We have been in a seller's market for at least the last 5 to 6 years, which means that sellers have benefited from not having to keep their houses on the market that long. Mindset has trickled through everyone's brains here. So everyone thinks that their properties are going to sell relatively quickly and close to some level of asking price. So while the comps are important for you to understand what you're going to offer, the comps also are there to make sure that the seller is quote unquote realistic, because it's likely that you're going to be offering or providing the seller with their asking.
In this market, definitely. So depending on the market is going to determine what your CMA is going to look like. So when we're in a slower, more traditional market, then, or I guess an even market, then you're going to be able to look at comps for like the last 6 months. But right now, as the market begins to heat up, we're really only looking at what's sold over the last 1 to 2 months, because that's really going to determine what a seller can get today. A home that sold in November for $600,000 is not going to get 600 today. It's very likely they can get 625 today, right? So you want to make sure you're looking at the most recent numbers and seeing what other buyers are willing to pay. So what Abraham and I always suggest is that you figure out what your point of pain is, and you figure out how much you're willing to go over if you do have to go over that sales price, and you see if it falls in line with what other buyers are doing to one property.
Your comps have to be fresh. They have to be relevant to the property that you're looking at, and they have to match the property type to some degree. So if you're looking at new construction properties or really newer properties, which are ones that have been built in the last 10 years, it's going to be hard to compare those to some property that's 20, 30, 40 years old. To the best of your ability, you're looking for properties that are very similar,
including condition, right? So you don't want to look at a neighbor who has done a full renovation and they were able to sell their home for top dollar, or they got, $50,000 above list price. If you're looking at a property that has fewer updates or no updates, so of course you want to consider that.
So February, March, and April this year, we're probably only going to use comps that are 30 days old, because the market is going to be moving so quickly, as we already talked about in the previous presentation, that you can't use a comp from December to justify a price in February. You're just not going to be able to. It's going to be very challenging. And also the sellers are already thinking, okay, great, I see prices increasing. So what do their comps? So the sellers' comps actually predict the future. So the seller's comps pace forward, right? Whereas the buyer's comps kind of look back.
So this is one part in the book that I actually disagree with the author about when we talk about how it works. And she actually says that when you're making offers, you want to offer 5 to 10% below your maximum budget. And I strongly disagree with that because of the market that we're in. I'm gonna be honest, I disagree with that in general because I don't believe in gambling if you're interested in the property. If you decide that you found a home that you're interested in, you should offer what the comps say the property is worth versus betting that no one else is making an offer on the property. Because I think that what she's alluding to in this book is that you're going to have a chance for the seller to come back to you to negotiate.
I also think that this book, since it was written in the olden days, they are talking about a balanced market. So a balanced market is one where properties sit on the market for 6 months, but we've been in a seller's market for so long that a lot of people have actually purchased the home that they're about to sell in a seller's market. So they remember how challenging it was for them to secure a property. I do think that this book is painting the picture that buyers are in more control than they really are, or they're more influential than they really are, whereas the market really kind of dictates that.
Pain threshold and knowing what your point is. We always say, what is the price that if you found out another buyer won the property, you'll be like, I would have paid that, right? That's your maximum price. That helps you realize how far you're willing to go to get a property.
In Northern Virginia, if you're buying a home in Northern Virginia, it's very likely that you'll only get one shot. A lot of buyers, especially first-time home buyers, they believe that there's going to be this going back and forth between you and the seller. Like you're going to go to a coffee shop and then you're going to put something on paper.
They watch too much
You're gonna,
HGTV.
yes, you're going to slide the paper, the number across, and then the person's going to say, "Oh, I don't like that number," and then you'll come back and do this back and forth. That's not true. In our market, we get so many offers on listings that the seller really is just picking the best offer at that time, and they're picking the person who is most likely to respond positively to a counter offer. So oftentimes when we submit an offer, the listing agent will actually reach out to us and talk to us about, okay, great, my client already has another offer. Do you believe your clients are flexible? And oftentimes, that is a rare occasion though. This is not a game. This is not a game. There are people on the other side of the table who are well financed, who have large down payments, who have great credit scores just like you. So next up in this book, we talk about like making an offer on a new construction property. The new construction process is a little bit unique from a lot of unique from the resale
Very
market.
different.
There are really three prices that you want to keep in mind that you're going to be kind of managing. First of all, there's the base price. So this is just what the structure of the property costs, right? So this is the walls, doors. This is just a basic price for the property. Then there are structural design. So structural design changes are when you add a loft and when you add a bump out, when you add a walk-up basement, walk-out basement. All of those things are structural changes that are going to increase the price of the property. Then we have design center. So the design center is actually where you go in and you select your finishes, you select where are the light switches going to go, ceiling fans,
what cabinets you want. And that is where it can get tricky, right? Because you go in there, it's like going into a candy store on an empty stomach, and your eyes are just so big and you're just seeing all of these incredible things on the showroom floor, and you just want to add all this to your basket. And you can very easily end up with, $100,000 to $150,000 worth of updates and upgrades in the property.
The next thing you want to do when you're making an offer on new construction is you want to have a budget as far as like how much am I going to spend on the total property, right? You have to go into the design phase. The design phase is where we see most of our clients really spend more than they anticipated.
Yes, because what many buyers don't know is that the price that you see online is the base price. That's before a single light bulb has been added, a single light fixture. So when you see that base price, you have to realize that that's just the box. You don't have anything in a box yet, though. So you have to budget for everything that's going to turn that box into your home.
The next up is when you're buying new construction, there are a couple ways that you can actually get discounts. One of the ways is if you buy as soon as the development is launched, right? So they just break ground, they put the sign up. If you can go in and you could say, you know what, I want to buy now, then those first few properties are going to be priced at the lowest price of any other home in the community. The problem with buying at the beginning is, first of all, you don't know if this development is going to go well. The second problem with buying as soon as the builder is developing the land is you may move in and now you live in a construction zone. So there are going to be contractors all over the place. There's
bulldozers and dirt everywhere.
Exactly. The street isn't going to be fully paved. And another problem with buying as soon as the builder launches the project is you may actually sell your property while the builder is building out the rest of the community. You're going to be competing with the builder. As a resale versus new construction, it's going to be quite challenging. Just something to keep in mind if you're going first, right? Going first, yes, you do get a discount. That discount comes with lower quality of life. You don't get to use the amenities, and there is a potential that you will sell before the development is finished building. So you can save money on the back end because the builder is now trying to get out of the development and they may sell those last 2 or 3 properties. They are harder to move. So they may reduce the price, and the builder now no longer has to deal with the beef, or they don't have to deal with the negative aspects from the other homeowners.
And then finally, we have incentives. So many builders will offer incentives to reduce the price, usually in the form of closing cost credits. So if you use their lender or use their title company, they may offer you a few $1,000s off of your closing costs if you use their providers versus the providers maybe you had already planned on using.
There's one more time when you may get a discount. is when interest rates increase. When interest rates increase, buyer demand drops. Buyer demand usually leads builders to become anxious and uncertain about the future. And so that's another time when you kind of swoop in and get yourself a nice little deal. All right, so that is it. So that was question number 31, how to decide what to offer.